Welcome to Revlog, where Aaron is back from our nation's capital.
That's right.
You set him straight?
Working on it.
Well,
It
yeah.
took a little longer than the time we had. But
Is your
Gotcha.
bill still languishing in
Languishing.
committee?
Language.
Yes.
Okay.
Ever will be.
And this is also where Bryan has no clue what commandment we're on.
Yeah.
No.
14.
Commandment 14.
By the end of the summer, we should be close to that.
Bless your heart.
We love you. We love you, Bryan.
Yeah, the love is just radiating out of this undisclosed location.
So
Bunker.
this week,
Bunker.
it's my understanding we're on Commandment 8.
That's
Commandment
what I
number
hear.
8, thou shalt not steal.
Okay.
Am I?
I think you're
We're
good.
right?
You're
We're
close.
good?
You said that over there first.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you're running affirmation from that side?
Commandment 8, thou shalt not steal. So Aaron, you've been gone.
That's
you were
right.
out. So why don't you kick us off? What were you thinking? Where were your
So
initial thoughts here?
I feel as though when we talk about adultery,
Mhm.
murder, as we spoke about before, and this one, it's dealing with integrity, because again, as you said in your sermon, most of us haven't killed somebody, physically killed somebody, and with adultery, most of us, I mean, as you said, it's pretty prevalent, but that still. We can kind of skirt by, and yet there are nuances to these commandments that all of us are struggling with. So I didn't steal something, physically steal something from someone, but I think there is a real integrity issue at play that, and coming back from Washington,
Right.
having
There's an integrity issue at play.
Well, that's perhaps, but
What?
President Trump and I were talking about the trade war, as raging right now with us and China.
Right.
And one of the things that you hear about consistently is intellectual property. One of the reasons that it's at least being proposed to us is that these tariffs are to protect us from China stealing intellectual property. So it's not me stealing this lovely mug of yours, but it's about the ideas that are being proposed that and again we're talking about now integrity that even ideas are at play when we talk about what's ours, what's yours, and so there's much more than just this idea of taking something physically that doesn't belong to you, but we need to consider how are we thinking about ideas and how we communicate those things.
Yeah, there's all kinds of ways to steal,
Mhm.
right? Where you go download Bryan's album off the internet for free, right?
Yeah.
That's,
not a good
Yeah.
idea.
we don't do that, right?
He needs
that's
his
stealing.
12 cents per album. He needs those. Yeah.
No, Bryan, what were your
If only it were 12 cents.
what were your initial thoughts on the stealing commandment?
Well, first I want to say sometimes I feel like my intellectual property is a wasteland. Let me just say that. But
What about Jake's?
Well, you had to bring that in, didn't you? Yeah, his is deforested. But I think this commandment is not a proof text for the existence of private property. I think we can kind of shoehorn that. Sometimes we want to say, well, this tells us that private property is a thing, and therefore whatever consequences come from that. But I rather think it reveals that to steal is to live as though you own everything.
Yeah.
And I think that in reality we own nothing.
Right.
And so to steal just seems to be the refutation of that reality.
Absolutely. I mean, there's a direct call here to a stewardship.
Yes.
That we are
Yes,
stewards of what
yes.
we have been given by God.
That's right.
And so this belongs to Him.
And in that
instead of
context,
belonging to us.
Yeah, it makes no sense then. It's totally senseless to steal something.
And if you steal something from someone else, you are taking something that God gave them.
Yes.
Right? And so
Yes.
you're interfering with that sovereignty of God and the gifts of His hand when
Right.
you're physically, literally taking that from somebody else. And that works on the economic level too. But go ahead.
And
Absolutely.
I wouldn't say that the commandments are out of order, but I would also
What?
No. I would if you go down to the idea of coveting. I mean, that's where it's going to begin. It's going to begin
right.
with I see something that I don't have
That's
that
exactly
I want,
right.
and I
Right.
desire it in a way that's probably unhealthy, and then I go take it. And again, exactly what you said. It's God, or by His nature, gave it to them or allowed them to have it, and we have robbed them of that.
Well,
and
it is organically connected to that kind
Absolutely.
of thing, which is, by the way, the reason that I was so fluid with what command we
right,
were on.
it's in there
They're all the
somewhere.
same.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
So if you agree with Aaron that the commandments are out of order, you can comment that below.
Where do we go here?
I don't know.
No, but let's get to our questions of the text. So when you were reading and studying this commandment, Aaron, what question do you have from that text?
Well, again, if we're looking at integrity and how this goes to our nature, and these commandments are speaking specifically to the nature of man, that we left to our own devices, we would do this.
Right.
What am I tempted, or what are we tempted to take from people? Again, I think on a daily basis, I'm not going to go around and be a kleptomaniac, but there's probably something in my own heart that I would act upon, and that I need to call into check. And so the commandment doesn't exist in a void. I mean, it exists because
Boy,
we are
that's so true.
fallen
That's
people.
right.
And so what is it that, and that's why I started with intellectual property, somebody's idea,
That's right.
somebody's way of doing things that I think that's a great idea. I'm going to claim it for my own.
Right.
And so there are these things. So because these commandments are not in a vacuum, they're for me, and I need to examine.
That's a good word.
Yeah.
That's a good word. Yeah. Brian, what question came out of the text for you?
I too have a kind of a personal inventory, like you were talking about. Where does my sense of ownership shut down generosity in my life? And
Good. That's
does
good.
that mean then that lack of generosity is a form of stealing? I mean,
Wow.
that I think there's maybe some connection there. Maybe.
I think I need to go to the altar and repent. Yeah, I think you're exactly right. I mean, we are called to be a generous people, aren't we? And when
Absolutely.
we're not living that out, we're being disobedient and
Right.
taking a blessing from someone else.
Yes.
Yeah, amen. So thank you for coming to the text with us. We love to hear your comments below.